Mental health is a life sentence without parole. Too many of us carry invisible wounds, trauma, loss, shame, and silence. I created the Crawl, Walk, Run podcast to break that silence, to give a voice to the voiceless. This is not just a show. It is a platform, a place where authors, veterans, first responders, survivors, and everyday people can share their truth without fear of judgment. We crawl through the darkness. We walk toward healing, and we run into purpose. Together, we will build this community. This podcast is about resilience, about stories that matter, and about reminding the world that your voice could save someone's life. I'm your host, Stevo, and this is Crawl, Walk, Run.
We were trained to endure, to adapt, to overcome. But nobody prepared us for what comes after the uniform comes off. This season, we're pulling the curtain back on the system veterans are forced to survive, not just serve. From suicides happening at VA hospitals, to mental health care that falls short, to growing fears about disability compensation ratings and cost cutting. We're asking the questions no one wants answered. Why are veterans still fighting for care? Who's really being protected? And who's being left behind? And what happens when silence costs lives? This isn't politics. This isn't opinions. This is lived experience. Season 3 of Crawl, Walk, Run, where we stop whispering, start questioning, and refuse to stay silent.
When your story refuses to stay broken, that's when purpose is born, and Karissa Gillespie is living proof. Karissa Gillespie is a best-selling author, certified holistic nutrition and wellness coach, communicative force, and transformative speaker whose work cuts straight into truth, resilience, and human potential. From the Pacific Northwest and now rooted in Utah, Karissa, a mother of 3 teenage daughters, brings real-world wisdom to everything she does, shaped by life, grounded in faith, and fueled by the conviction that strength emerges from adversity. She is a certified holistic nutritionist and wellness coach, helping people achieve lasting health outcomes through personalized strategies, education, and lifestyle change, not quick fixes. Her work spans weight management, metabolic support, digestive health, prenatal care, and long-term wellness plans. Karissa is also a certified literary editor, publishing coach, and storyteller, guiding authors to turn personal experience into meaningful narrative. She's currently advancing her training through a bachelor's in communications, sharpening her skills in writing, speaking, and influence. As an independent Amazon best-selling author of 7 published books, Karissa writes across genres: devotional faith-based work, self-help, mystery romance, and compelling collaborative projects. Her most recent Amazon bestseller, Hitman Tells All, Real-Life Facts of the Mafia and the Witness Protection Program, ranks strongly in the crime and criminal biographies/true crime categories, showcasing her ability to captivate readers far beyond conventional boundaries. Her message is simple and relentless. Your struggle is not your end, it's your platform. She speaks with insight, authority, and authenticity, empowering audiences who felt unseen, unheard, or underestimated. Your story isn't just worth telling. It's worth someone's next breakthrough.
I am Storytime with Stevo. This is Crawl, Walk, Run podcast, mental health podcast, season 3, episode 7. And today I have the honor to bring here to speak to everyone. She is a certified wellness nutritionist, author, coach, literary coach. She has 7 published books. She's multiple best-selling author for Amazon, I'm not going to delay. Her name is Karissa Gillespie. And I am going to bring her in here, and we're going to talk some crawl, walk, run. Greetings, Karissa.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Welcome. We have been converting back and forth on Facebook, and I'm listening to you and watching your story with the books and everything. And I want to hear what's going on inside. So I always tell my guests, what does crawl, walk, run mean to you?
To me, I feel like everybody goes through these stages in life. Crawling for me, let's start with crawling. So crawling for me would be starting small, starting simple, focusing on grounding yourself, learning coping skills. Walk, I feel like, is building confidence and consistency in whatever you're going through in life, building resilience, I would say. Run for me would be moving forward. You get through the crawl, you get through the walk. Running is moving forward, reconnecting with purpose. But I feel like at the same time, if you run before you're ready, it can feel overwhelming.
Great. So what is trauma? And if you don't have trauma, what do you do to help others that have trauma?
Trauma to me is anything that feels threatening or scary. It could be something that's small to somebody else, but it's really huge to you. I have dealt with trauma in my life. I feel like everybody's dealt with a little trauma. I dealt with some trauma in my childhood, through teenage years and even into adulthood. There's different trauma events that I've dealt with, but I've also helped people through trauma. And just a little example of that is, like we were speaking before, I've had 7 pregnancies. I've lost 4 babies. Like, that's pretty traumatizing. But in the event of all of that happening, just a couple of years ago, I ended up running into meeting somebody that lost a baby right at the tail end of her pregnancy. And I've gone through that 4 times. And so I was able to kind of help her get through because I've experienced it far too many times. And so yeah, I feel like we go through things in life to be able to help and coach others. So.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, to turn the mic off because of background noise. So with the trauma, what are the coping mechanisms that you use to help yourself or to help others?
For me, having a strong faith and being a Christian, of course I turn to praying and reading scriptures, praying with others. And then I would say probably just a couple years ago, I actually did EMDR therapy and counseling to kind of help me through things I went through even just in my childhood and things through, my adult life too. That was really beneficial. It helped me huge, I think. But on a daily basis, I would say I do a lot of journaling. Being a writer, I love to write. So journaling just kind of comes naturally to me. And just advocating for other people and helping people seems to help me too.
I always have to ask, do you hear me? So
yeah.
So thanks. I appreciate that. Everybody's waiting to hear your story. So I'm going to drop down a couple times, and if not, then I'll stay up here with you so that you don't get nervous. But you're a public speaker, so you should knock this out. So go ahead. The platform's yours.
Okay. So I will talk about first, I started writing before I became a holistic nutritionist. And so I actually went to fashion school years ago and gone to fashion journalism. That's kind of where I fell in love with writing. I was writing autobiographies about different designers and stuff, and it just really drew me in. And so I kind of fell in love with writing then. And then I was trying to get my faith back on track. And then I started having a bunch of spiritual dreams. And one dream that I had guided me to writing my first book. I started writing When You Walk by Faith, a 30-day devotional story. And so I prayed a lot about it, and I actually wrote that book in 3 days. It was kind of amazing. Like, everything came together, it just flowed, and it was done. After that, I wasn't really sure what to do with it and where my writing was going to take me. And it was quite a few months before I started to continue writing. And so that's where my second book, Finding Grace, came in. That was my first novel. It is not a true story, but it's based on a lot of true events that have happened in my life. I feel like I'm really passionate about true stories. So then I did that one. That one took me about 7 months to do, a little bit longer. And then one started coming in right after another. And then I wrote Dreaming of a Stranger. That was my first mystery romance novel. I had a lot of fun with that one. And then came The Year Everything Changed was the next one. And my daughter actually helped me write that book. It was really amazing to have her do that. She created the characters and their personalities and the plot of the story. And so that was a lot of fun to do with her. Then came my 2 self-help books. It was Chosen for Love and A Faith Journey for Kids and Teens. I wrote those because having 3 teenage daughters and then their friends also, being close with me, I see how a lot of the kids in this generation really struggle with parents divorcing or parents newly dating or peer pressure at school, finding their faith, like where do they belong in life? And so I wrote that book to help kids get through tough times in life. Also having a lot of friends that have never been married or have also gone through divorce like myself. And that's where Chosen for Love came from. It's helping people through dating, through marriage and restoration. Like not everything has to end in divorce. And so those are the self-help books that I wrote to try and help people. It's what I'm passionate about, is helping people with my writing. And then came Hitman Tells All. This is the first time I actually wrote a book for somebody. It's a documentary or memoir, whatever you want to call it. And this one made my head spin a little bit. First time I wrote about crime and murder and all that stuff. So when I was actually reached out to by him to write this story, I was like, this isn't my thing. I write faith-based books, self-help books, and clean mystery romance novels. I don't write about crime. And so I told him, I'm not sure if I can do this. Let me pray on it. And I decided to go ahead and do it. And it was really interesting being, I'm Italian also. And so my family has history of the mafia. I just didn't know much about it. So it's really interesting hearing a lot about how the mafia works and stuff. And so I wrote this book and it's actually done really well. And I learned a lot from it, actually writing it myself. And so that's my journey of being an author. I'm currently working on another really big book project right now. that I am also writing for somebody else. And then a few years ago, not a few years ago, it's like 2 years ago. Well, I take that back. It'd be 3 years ago. My daughter actually had some health issues, and she was not in good shape. I took her to an ER, and they sent us home, and they couldn't figure anything out. She was not able to hold in food. Water was causing her pain. And she was, keep in mind, 10 years old at the time. And so we went home, and they sent me in to get a stool sample for her to figure out what's going on with her gut. And it was not good. She was getting worse. So I took her to the Children's Hospital. I was still in Washington State at the time. So we went to Mary Bridge Children's Hospital in Tacoma, and they ended up admitting her. They had a GI doctor come in. They tried to give her bland food. Nothing was working. Her heart rate was 220 because she was in so much pain. Yeah. And they didn't understand why. She couldn't even drink water. She went 5 days with no food and water at the hospital, and then ended up having to give her a feeding tube. They did all kinds of tests. They did an upper endoscopy, a colonoscopy on her. They couldn't find anything. Now, the stool sample that they did, her calprotectin levels were supposed to be under like 40 or 50, and it was over 800. So she had some kind of inflammation they couldn't find. And so she was at the hospital for 2 weeks, came home with a feeding tube. I had to do training for tube placement and feeds and everything for her. And then she started slowly eating. So her GI doctor took the tube out. And a month later, she was having the same issues. Her GI doctor was on vacation. So then we had to go up to Seattle Children's, see a new GI doctor, find out what's going on with her. We were there for 9 days. They ran a whole bunch more tests. They couldn't find anything. Wow. So a therapist came in, a children's therapist, and told her it was all in her head. Yeah. And I was like, it's summertime. She wants to be out playing with her friends. She wants to be eating food. You think she's choosing to be here with a tube in her nose and down her throat?
Wow.
Doing all these cleanses and all these procedures and getting put to sleep. Like, what child at 10 years old would choose that? And what
was the outcome?
They diagnosed her with functional abdominal pain syndrome. I'm like, that's not a thing. You guys made that up. Huh?
Does she still suffer from that periodically?
So this is where I'm getting into that. So being at the hospital is really, talk about trauma. Like, it was really traumatizing for her. We didn't know what was wrong. I was really scared. And after 9 days at Seattle Children's and them not figuring it out either, we just said, we're going home. I'll figure it out. That's when I went to school to become a holistic nutritionist and a wellness and weight loss coach to help my daughter. It was traumatizing for her. I mean, it was traumatizing for me. I couldn't imagine what she was going through. And so I went to school for that to help my daughter. But that and a lot of praying, we have done a lot of trial and error, and me figuring out on my own, seeing doctors and specialists and everything, nobody can figure it out. And I, through going to school, figured out how to help my daughter. And so now she doesn't deal with any of that stuff. Every once in a while, if she eats the wrong thing, she will have an issue, but not like that. She has not had any problems like that before. She doesn't get sick anymore. And it's all because I've been able to help her through becoming a holistic nutritionist.
You don't allow her to take medicine, do you?
No.
So
she will, if she gets really bad migraines sometimes. So if she does, or menstrual cramps and stuff, I'll let her take some Motrin or something, but that's it. Only because Tylenol doesn't help her. Huh?
I use a migraine beanie,
the one that goes in the freezer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have that too. And she always tries that first. She tries that. She'll put that on and she'll try to sleep it off. And then sometimes it does help. And then if it's just like, okay, enough is enough, then she'll take some Motrin. But we don't do medicine. She's got, from all of her digestive issues and her migraine, she's got a bin like this full of medications. She doesn't take anything. She won't. She refuses.
So what about you? I mean, we talked about some stuff prior, weight loss, toning.
Yeah. So going to school and helping her, I created a nutrition plan for myself. I was really struggling with losing. I had 3 kids and they were all teenagers. I was like, how am I not losing this midsection? Like, why am I struggling so much with that? And I've been able to create a nutrition plan and workout plan for myself and figure out what works for me, right? Everybody's body's different, and something that could work for me will not work for somebody else. So it's a matter of putting together a master plan for each individual. And so I did it on myself. And this picture right here, I lost weight. This one here is a year later after toning. You can see where I really built the muscle in my glutes, in my stomach. I still have a little bit of that pooch that I'm still trying to get rid of, but a lot of it has been shredded off. My legs have become super muscular after getting told I have chicken legs my whole life. So I've been able to build a lot of muscle and keep that muscle on. I have a stair climber. I went from not even being able to hardly do 20 steps a day. I do 700 steps a day on the stair climber now. Just with changing my diet with nutrition, with having energy, rebuild, like restoring muscle, and not having like the muscle cramps afterwards. There's a diet or a nutrition plan for all of that. Since doing this, I have been able to help others. I have clients that I work with. Some of them are having issues with weight gain, like wanting to gain weight and put on muscle. So I've been helping them. Some of them are struggling losing weight post babies, right? Like post pregnancy. So I've been able to help people lose weight.
Are you certified? You're certified in that now, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I am certified for meal planning, for fitness plans, putting together a workout routine for people. I am certified in supplements. So I work around all of that. I'm also certified from little kids all the way up to senior citizens. So I work with all ages. I work with people with diabetes, digestive disorders like Crohn's, celiac, IBS, anything along the lines of that. I'm able to help people with.
Do you believe in edibles?
I do think they are beneficial for some people. I know, yes. So some people can't handle them. I know, like my grandmother who has really bad arthritis, my aunt got her involved in trying to do the edibles, but it didn't seem to work for her. Some people, my stepdad, he's got shattered discs in his back and deals with pain and that kind of stuff, and they help him huge, so I think they're beneficial for some people, and some people they might not work for. It's kind of like a nutrition plan, right? Like everybody's a little bit different. Everybody works a little bit different. But yeah. And so, I'm still working with clients. Some people I've been working with for a year or two, and I have new clients coming in all the time. And some people just get a hang of it just like that. I see them a couple months and they're off doing their own thing and sticking to it.
Now, aren't you also a book coach?
I am. So I do one-on-one coaching for writing, editing, and publishing. I went to school. I am a freelance editor and publisher. And yeah, a writer of 7 books.
What do you charge to edit?
$69 an hour.
$69 an hour. I might give you my new manuscript.
Yeah. And so I do that. I just started, I kind of started, I was in the works of putting together videos, like people that don't need the one-on-one coaching, but instead just want some editorial videos. I was thinking about putting together something like that to just generally help people. But the one-on-one coaching is like diving deep, like into what you're specifically working on.
So a new platform called SKOOL.
That's where I was going to do the editorial videos. Yeah.
There you go. And you get paid for that too, for people to watch your videos.
Subscriptions, yeah.
I tried to do that, but they shut me down because like they're like, nobody wants to talk about mental health, especially what you're talking about.
That's huge.
Yeah, they were like, your content is not approved. I'm like, okay, I'll take it to the top. I'll take it.
Yeah, that's crazy because I feel like everybody at some point or another deals with that.
Yeah, I don't get paid for what I do. I try to do it out of the kindness of my heart because I've been in a bad place. So, but
well, that's like my podcast I just started. I'm just doing it to do it because after I wrote Hit Me on Tells All, I've had, I kid you not, this is crazy, okay? Every 3 days, like clockwork, somebody reaches out to me, hey, I have a story I want you to write. Hey, I have a story I want to share with you, which is they want to share a story with a stranger. Like, I think that's amazing. And they're always amazing stories that like change people's lives around or things that they've gone through and just amazing miracles that have happened. And so I probably have about 22 or 23 people that have reached out to me to share their story. And so that's when I decided to start my podcast show called The Unfiltered Chapter, where people can come on. Like, I feel everybody's voice needs to be heard. Like, everyone has a story that needs to be told.
Why is it that name?
Being a writer and now writing books, right? And now I'm writing stories for people, and a lot of them want me to put them into a book. The Unfiltered Chapter is not in a book. It's on a podcast, right? And it's unfiltered, meaning I wanted to create space for people to come talk about whatever they feel like they want to talk about, to share whatever has happened in their life, to share any story. I just want that to be a free space for them.
Being religious, are you okay if somebody comes on your podcast that is like totally going through it, that may drop a couple F-bombs or... Because you call it unfiltered, it's almost like my book, No Filter. I have a parent advisory symbol on it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's a skateboard book and kids can read it. Well, it's a little bit more than a kid-friendly book.
Right. And I feel like everybody's different. Everybody has a different story, and everyone tells their story differently.
Oh,
right? Yeah. And so that is why it's unfiltered. I want it to be a space where they can come on and tell it like it is. I mean, I prefer it not to be super graphic and inappropriate, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I just want to create that space. So however someone's going to tell their story, let it be told.
So do you have a message for all the people that are going to be watching this podcast and streaming out everywhere next Wednesday for people that are struggling?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because where I come from, like, my faith is really strong, right? And so there's some people that aren't very religious. So just generally, I would say, don't give up. Keep pushing through. I'm actually currently going to school right now to get my bachelor's in communication. And what's really interesting is coming on here and doing this with you today, we're actually talking in school about perseverance, right? Not
great to show your class as a project.
Huh?
This would be great to show your class as a project and also video.
Yeah, it would. I should send it, put it on for my reflection. But yeah, so perseverance. And I actually had to write an essay on thinking errors, right? And the thinking error I was given was giving up. Like, it taught me a lot because there's times where I feel like I want to give up on things. And so I feel like, especially with trauma that people go through or any struggles you have in life, like, persevere and don't give up. Like, there's always a way. There's always a way out of your situation. And there's always somebody that you can talk to. And I know I'm pretty much a nobody, but anyone that's struggling with something, I mean, I'm here. People get a hold of me and tell me their stories all the time, and I love to hear them and I listen. And so if anybody has something they want to share, or a story that needs to be told, or they're struggling with something, I'm here. I'm an advocate. I'm here to listen and help where I can.
Well, Karissa, it has been great. I will reach out to you after this downloads. Plus, I want to talk to you about the manuscript. I worked 10 hours on that thing last night. So, got to put 3 books together into one to make one manuscript.
Yeah, I saw that. That's so amazing.
So I may send it to you just so that you can take a peek at it and tell me what. Like, I'm sending it to Ingram, but I've noticed that I shared it with my friend who edited my 3rd book, and she told me, why are all these red lines underneath everything? And I'm like, that's supposed to be professionally edited. So, not trying to call Ingram out or anything, but yeah. So,
I do it for a living. I'm here to help.
Well, look, I'm going to drop you down. I'm going to close out the show. Thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you very much. Love, peace, and joy. I am Storytime with Stevo, and this was season 3, episode 7, where I talked to Karissa Gillespie. I can't say that word very well. But anyways, she is great. She's a wellness coach. Reach out to her. We'll have the links in the bio and everything. If you want some stuff edited, she's doing all that too. She's helping people out of trauma. So always remember, be the voice of the unheard. I am Storytime with Stevo. This streams next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, mental health is a life sentence without parole. 22 a day. Love, peace, and joy. I am Stevo. I'm going to go ahead and knock this out here, because I always mess this up at the end of my show.
Crawl, walk, run.
We were trained to endure, to adapt.
You get out of the military, and no one tells you how to write a resume. You are handed a DD Form 214, your certificate of service, and suddenly you're on your own. I am William A. Stevens, Jr., a retired United States Army Field Artillery Sergeant First Class, and I know exactly what it feels like. I am also a 3-time award-winning author and an Eric Hoffer Book Award winner in 2025 for The Broken Mirror. In this book, I tell it raw, unfiltered, the truth about survival, the trauma, the bonds, and the breaks along the way, especially the bond with my own daughter. If you are leaving the uniform life, feeling lost and disconnected, unsure of who you are, here's how it is. You are not failing. It takes time. You are not alone. The Broken Mirror is more than my story. It is a guide, a hand to hold, a way to face the silence, step back into purpose, and find your voice again. And don't be left in the silence. But I'll tell you, the grass is not greener on the other side.
Crawl, walk, run has been brought to you by Storytime with Stevo. And speaking for the once in silence, we are the voice of the unheard. If you have a story, please reach out. Till next